Hi everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you guys today? I am excited to bring you a new stamp set this week. I am using the Brave Vikings, and today I've paired it with the Oceanfront stamp set. So Brave Vikings is on page 73 of the January to June mini catalog. I know it's almost finished. June 30th is the last day to order out of this catalog, and last chance products are available. So if you want to know what's on sale, I do have a video on my channel called Last Chance Walk Through the Catalog. This is the card that we're making today. Isn't it so cute? And I've chosen to use the Oceanfront stamp set, which is also in this mini catalog, for this really cute sand stamp that's in here. So let me find that set. I didn't mark it, but I can find it fairly quickly for you so that you guys can check it out. It is a really cool set. It's on page 39. And there it is, and this is the stamp that I'm using for the sand itself. It makes beautiful oceanfront scenes, and I highly recommend it. All right, let's move on and get started with our card. So we're using 3 inks today: Early Espresso, Tahitian Tide, and Crumb Cake. We're going to be using the Brave Vikings and the Oceanfront stamp set. For the dies, we're using our rectangles that are stitched. You can see here that the white layer and the red layer, the cherry cobbler and basic white, were stitched, and I used the largest and the next size down. The red one is the largest, and the next size down is the basic white. And then this piece here is this flag piece from the new Stylish Shapes dies. Both of those die sets are in our annual catalog, so you can check them out there. All right, let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make this really cute card. So I'm going to move that off to the side. And I have already die cut the 2 shapes. So here is the cherry cobbler, and like you can see, I used the largest. And then the basic white, I used the next size down. The cool thing about these dies is they not only give you the stitch on the inside, but the outside has a stitch. So if you are, for instance, making a window on your card and you cut the piece out so that you have a window, there'll also be a stitched piece on the outside left on this piece of cardstock. And the window piece that comes out will also have a stitching. So there's double stitching with this die set. It's a great die set because of that reason. We're going to use Crumb Cake for our base, and it's an 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of crumb cake, and I have scored it at 4 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder here, and we're going to make sure that that score mark lays nice and flat. I highly recommend a bone folder so that your cards do lay flat. When you fold them over and use your hand, it's not the same. So we are going to go ahead and attach our cherry cobbler layer. So I'm going to use my seal adhesive, and I'm going to just run a couple lines of that. And we are going to go ahead and attach that onto our piece of crumb cake. I'm going to try and line it up as best I can, making all the sides pretty even. So there is my crumb cake layer. I'm going to set this to the side. We don't need that right yet because we're going to do all of our work on our basic white piece. Now, our little Viking was stamped on a scrap piece of basic white cardstock, and I used the Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad, and I stamped him in that and stamped him onto a piece. And then he was fussy cut out with scissors. And to color him in, I do want to share with you what colors I've used. So in this corner here, you can see my Stampin' Blends. So I used gray granite. I used the light and the dark. You get them in a 2-pack when you purchase them. And I used that for his little shield here, for his hat, and for his sword. And then I used pumpkin pie, light and dark. I colored all of him in the light pumpkin pie, and then I accented him, you can see there, with the dark pumpkin pie. So that gives it that two-tone look of his beard. Then I used crumb cake, both the light and the dark. The light is for the horns, and the dark is for his vest and for this sash underneath the vest. And then I used our bronze, which is an individual. You purchase it, it's just the one marker. And I think it also comes with ivory. So it might be a 2-pack, but you get ivory and bronze together. And the bronze I used to highlight that dark crumb cake, see the highlighting on the vest. And I also used it for his boots and his underpant area. And then this sash that's underneath his little vest is also in the bronze, and the handle of his sword. And then I used our new Natural Tones blends that come in 100 to 1000 numbers. And this is number 900, and I used that for his skin tone. So he's a 900. I tried to make him very fair-skinned because he had the red beard. And that's basically what I used to color him in. We're going to build our scene now, which is the backdrop of him. And so we're going to do some blending with some ink. We're going to blend with crumb cake and our new Tahitian Tide, which is one of our brand new in colors. Crumb cake is in our regular neutrals line. So I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to put it underneath my little rectangle here that we're going to use for our main base. And I'm going to start with the crumb cake first. So I always try and start with the lighter color when I'm using two colors that are blending together. I'm going to grab my blending brush here and pick up some crumb cake. And you can see I'm moving it in a circular motion. I'm going to dab off that first initial piece is really dark, and so I don't want that blotch onto my surface. So I'm going to blotch it off onto my scrap paper, and then I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to start on my edges, and I'm going to, you can see I'm using a circular motion, and I'm going to start filling in my sandy area. And on my sample, I didn't go all the way to the edge, but I did want the sand to come farther down. It is a lighter color, and I do want some of the white at the top, but for this particular one, I wanted to add a little to the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and come in here and make my sand a little bit darker. And I am happy with that. All right, so that's it for my crumb cake. So let's go ahead and pull in the Tahitian Tide next. I really love this beautiful turquoise color. I was so excited when they announced that we were going to have this turquoise. We used to have an old color called Tempting Turquoise, and this one is similar, but it is different if you pair them together. I did have some old cardstock in Tempting Turquoise, and it is slightly different. So this one's a little bit more blue, and the other one had a little bit more green in it. All right, so same thing. I'm gonna blot off that dark initial piece, and then I'm gonna start here in the center, and I'm gonna try and do my sky. Now, I do want to leave some white in the sky because I kind of want it to look like there's some clouds. But I wanted my sand to be complete, which is why I changed it a little bit from my original design. That's the one I used when I actually designed my project. And sometimes after you design something, you think, oh, I could do it better next time, right? So that was my first one. And this is my second go round. So I'm changing it up a little bit. All right, so there is my sky. Isn't that pretty? I think it adds, it's sky and it's also water. It's a little bit of each. All right, so there is my sky water piece. And so now I want to add with my Tahitian Tide. You can get the markers in a 5-pack. You get all 5 in colors. I'm just going to add a little bit of these little wavy lines with the thin point behind him. Now for the sand, I'm going to use that little beachy kind of grain that's in that oceanfront stamp set, and I'm going to stamp it. And you can see I'm not stamping it fully down, and I'm stamping it a few times. So I just want a little bit of a sandy look. So I don't want it really full force. I'm just kind of trying to make a little bit of some grains of sand. So I like to tap it a few times so I get all the different generations of ink. All right, so there is my sand. All right, so we've built our little scene in the background. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my stamps. I do that as I go. It's just a habit I have. I guess it's a good one, right? Keep everything nice and clean. And so now we wanna put our happy birthday on our little Viking. Isn't he so cute? I colored him ahead of time so that you guys didn't have to sit here and watch me color him and cut him out. But I went ahead and got him going. But he is going to be lifted up, so I'm going to use some dimensionals. And so I'm going to use some big ones and some smaller ones. I'm going to put a big one there. I want to maybe another one there. And then I'm going to use some of the minis so that he, in the smaller parts of him, I'm going to put up here by his little horns of his helmet. All right, and then on his hand here, I'm going to put one there, and then I want something in those areas. So you can see when you use the minis, you end up with this nice big border. And so I save those, and you can see here, I cut nice little thin strips with my snips. So I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna cut some thin strips off of on my edges. Get a few of them going. And I'm gonna put one here on the sword. And then I'm gonna put one each on his little horns. I just don't want them to sag down, which is why I'm using these little thin pieces. All right, so that is our little fellow. Let me pull these out of the camera here so you guys can see. I'm gonna grab my take your pick tool. That's what I like to use to pull the backs off. And when you get your take your pick tool, you get this spatula end, you get this pointy end, and then it comes with a stylus with a large and a thinner tip that you can also insert in this section. You just flip them around and just tighten them in. So I'm gonna use the pointy end here, and I'm gonna pull the backs off of my dimensionals. Whoops. I like to grab them on here because then I can take them and throw them all in the trash. If you've used dimensionals, they like to stick to your floor, your carpet. They get static, you get them on your shoe. So by me using this take your pick tool, I can assure that the backs end up in my trash can because they are all attached together onto my take your pick tool. Whoops. That time it didn't go in the trash, did it? But there they are. Now I'll make sure that they end up in the trash can. I have all of my stickies off of here. And I will attach my little guy onto the beach, onto the sand here. Put him right there. All right. Let's work on the happy birthday. So for the happy birthday, I want to use this stamp that says, "Happy birthday, you've conquered another year." Now I just want the happy birthday on this piece. I'm going to put "you conquered another year" on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and glue down my little strip here, and for this I'm going to use my wet adhesive. So when I use wet adhesive, I always bring out my silicone mat because I make a mess when I use wet glue and I don't want it on my desk surface. So we'll start with that. I'm gonna put a line of glue on there, and then I like to use tweezers And I will pick that up, and then I will fit it onto my card. Just like that. All right, so there is my line. Now let's go ahead and stamp our happy birthday. So I have two ways that I can do it. I can either mask this with a piece of masking paper that we have in our new catalog, or a piece of tape, or I can use my markers. So I'm gonna use my markers today. This is the Early Espresso Stampin' Write markers. We sell them in family packs, so you can buy all the neutrals together in one pack, and I highly recommend the neutrals because they work really good for words. And you can see how I can just ink up the happy birthday and not the words that are underneath it. So I'm going to just ink up that happy birthday. Make sure I got this Y good on the end there. And then we're going to do some guesstimating. I'm hoping that I'm in camera here. I want to make sure that I am. I want to bring it down here because I can see better the closer it is to me without sticking my head in the camera. And I'm just going to bring that happy birthday. I'm going to bring it a little lower than center because remember, we're not doing that bottom word. And I'm going to try and stamp that directly onto my piece. And there it is. Happy birthday. Turned out pretty good. So now we can attach that. I'm going to clean this, and then we're going to do the same thing on the inside of our card. I'll let that dry while I'm attaching my words onto the front. So I'm going to use 3 dimensionals here. Put one on each end and one in the middle so that it doesn't bow. Again, here comes Take Your Pick tool to the rescue. Pull those 3 off of there. And we're going to put the happy birthday right there in between. Looks so cute, doesn't it? I love that. All right, now we're going to work on the inside of our card. So let's bring that and open it up. I'm going to use my Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to stamp the little Viking ship. So cute. Right here in the corner. I love this little stamp set. It's adorable. So let's clean that off. And then we can do the bottom words with our marker again. All right. So this time, instead of doing the happy birthday, we're going to do the words that are below it. So I'm just going to make sure that I can read them. It says, "You've conquered another year." Let's see if I'm in camera there. I know it's backwards. I'm going to bring that down here and stamp that right there in the center. You've conquered another year. Then that's why we have the ship there. So there it is. And that's the inside of our card. Let's clean our stamp. Let's cover our marker. All right. And now we're going to attach our scene right here in the middle, and I'm going to use dimensionals. I just wanted it to be lifted. So we'll put in all 4 corners. And now this side is a little longer than the other, so I'm going to go ahead and put one in the middle of those. And then I'm going to put one each here to support the center of my project. And our Take Your Pick tool to the rescue again. To pull these backs off. Come on. It can only hold so many before it gets like too thick, but there they all are on the back of the Take Your Pick tool. Into the trash can it goes. And now I'm going to attach my little Viking and center him on my piece of cherry cobbler. All right, and the finishing touch are going to be these pebbles. Now these are super cool. I think I'm going to use 3 of the different sizes. We have 3 different sizes of the brown. So we're going to go ahead and grab underneath there and pick that up. We'll put one by this foot here, a little farther down maybe. Let's move it down a little. Come on. There we go. Right there. That's one. Let's do this one down over here. And this one's a little bit, put it by the other foot. Little sand pebbles. And then we'll get this longer one here. And I'll put it over here by this one. There we go. So you can see we have some brown and some gray. These are on the last chance product list, so definitely grab those while you can. Hopefully they're still available when this video goes live. I appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed watching me make this card. I certainly enjoyed putting it together for you. I have always a great time stamping with you guys, and I hope that you enjoy being with me. If you stayed to the end, I greatly appreciate that. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up, that would make me very happy. Leave me comments. Let me know what stamp sets you're interested in me demonstrating. Also, if there's any techniques that you're interested in, let me know. I'd be happy to make a video for you. Also, if you don't mind sharing my video to others, I'd appreciate that. And just so that you know, you can also hit the share button and save this video to your Pinterest. You can make a board for videos that you want to watch later. And if you see something that I put or something that you want to make later, but you don't have time to make right now as you're watching the video, that way you don't have to go through my channel and try and find an old video. When I've uploaded other things, you'll have it in your little Pinterest folder that you can click on and watch the video whenever you're ready to make the card. So I hope that you enjoyed watching it. Again, like I said, I always have a great time stamping with you. Thanks for joining me. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's a little picture of my face. When you hover over it, it'll give you a subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping.